around $2,000 to $3,000, the majority of potential buyers either look for their first conventional luxury watch or look to grow their current collection with household names. But there aren't many watchmakers that offer traditional techniques like enameling, engine turn guilloche, and imaginative collaborations with designers and artists, especially in that $2,000 to $5,000 range. Enter Swiss independent watchmaker Louis Erard. Louis Erard watches are all about taking traditional watchmaking techniques and using them with a modern twist. So the guilloche patterns that are produced by hand-operated rose engine lathes look more like modern art than something you'd find on a Breguet Classique. But in the past few years, Louis Erard hasn't shied away from collaborating with big design houses in the watch industry, one of them being Label Noir. Swiss watchmaker Emmanuel Curti founded Label Noir in 2011, where he specialized in what some would call the art of personalization. While in the early days his work primarily focused on collector's pieces, now it's different. With an influx of independent watch brands daring to rebel against the old traditions, many brands have joined hands with Emmanuel to add his own monochromatic spin on their watches. From a $2,500 Maurice Lacroix Icon and a $25,000 Armstrong Gravity Equal Force, all the way up to a $100,000 Corum Bubble Central Tourbillon, Label Noir has done it all. And while the Louis Erard Label Noir Regulator isn't the cheapest watch that either of the brands offer, it is certainly on the cheaper end of this wide price spectrum. But price is the least interesting bit about this watch. There are so many more interesting things to look at. The watch comes in a PVD-coated 42mm stainless steel case with a sandblasted finish, with a thickness of 12.25mm, a lug-to-lug of 49.6mm, and a lug width of 22mm, making it wear on the larger side. The thickness includes the slightly domed sapphire crystal on top that boasts anti-reflective treatment on both sides, making the dial easy to read in a bright outdoor environment. You get 50 meters of water resistance, which is more than enough for daily use. In a regulator style fashion, the dial is separated in 3 sections. You get a large rhodium-plated tree-style minute hand against a vertically brushed deep gray backdrop with white dots denoting the minutes and larger green dots denoting the hours. Contrasting the brush texture, you have a glossy lacquered subdial at 12 framed by a polished outer ring that displays the hour. And then the passing seconds can be tracked by a green lacquered seconds hand placed at the lower subregister. The main idea behind such a regulator style layout dates back to the early days, where the watchmakers would use such layouts on wall clocks to easily regulate watches to a central time. As is the case with almost all watches by Louis Erard, there's minimal text on the dial, with the emphasis on the contrasting textures and details. While this might be one of the most plain-looking watches by Louis Erard, the emphasis here is on how the bright greens and mirror polishing on the hands play against the various textures on the backdrop. The play of light and shadows on these different elements never let the watch be boring. It looks cool, without trying too hard. Turn the watch around and you're in for a surprise. Continuing the theme of black and green, you get a display case back with a green tint. And behind this tinted crystal beats the Swiss automatic Sellita SW266-1, which is a modified Sellita caliber to incorporate the regulator function. The elaborate grade caliber gives you decent finishing with 38 hours of power reserve when fully wound and a high beat rate of 4 Hz. Now, for a brand like Louis Erard to spend time on various traditional watchmaking techniques that demand a lot of human involvement with things like engine turn guilloche, enameling, and at the same time coming up with what can only be described as imaginative designs involving artists and design-heavy brands like Alan Silberstein, Messina Lab, Secon, and Label Noir on a very limited production scale, they'd only be able to do this while keeping the prices between that $2,000 to $5,000 range if they cut costs on the movement front. So no, you're not getting an in-house movement. But for a small brand like Louis Erard, investing millions on developing in-house calibers without really having a reason for it, and while not being a mainstream brand, would be commercial suicide. Take Bremont, for example. No, I'm glad that they offer elaborate grade, tried and tested Solita movements that can easily and cheaply be serviced by any reputable watchmaker. While Louis Erard watches can at times be polarizing, especially with playful colors and modern geisha textures on the dial, Label Noir tones it down by bringing a stealthy black and green color scheme to the table. There's an air of familiarity and unfamiliarity at the same time. You still get a round case with 3 hands with hour markers and indices on the dial, but the way that everything is done, the layout of these seemingly familiar features is what makes this watch unique. If you like this watch, do check it out at the Red Army Watches Malaysia website. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoyed this video. It really helps us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.